Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining Lead Squared Virtual Roundtable. We do these every couple of months, so thank you so much for joining again. This in this episode, we are talking to folks from lending. Our leading stars here today will come to that in a bit, but we are talking about building a digital first customer acquisition and collection process. Now we have a star-studded panel here, as you can see. We have Mr. Shashank Agrawal, who is the CTO at HDFC Credila. We have Mr. Yogi Sadana, who is the CEO at Cache. We have Mr. Bhavin Patel, who is the founder and CEO at Lending Club. We have Rahul Chopra, who is the CDO at Clicks Capital. And we have our very own Nilesh Patel, who is the co-founder and CEO at Lead Squared. So without much ado, I'll let Nilesh take the show ahead. Nilesh, all yours.
Thank you so much, Ivani, and thank you for organizing this. I really appreciate you and team's effort in putting this together. Thank you all. Thank you, Yogi, Rahul, Shashank, Bhavin, for finding time and joining me in this roundtable. I think fintech and the entire lending space is really red hot right now, and I'm glad that we are hosting a panel which bringing a different perspective from the lending spectrum. So and I have a bunch of questions I'd like to cover. We have about 45 minutes of conversation, about 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A. We'll take towards the end of it. So I'll just go ahead and start with Yogi, as I see you on the left of it. On my screen, I don't know, all of us will be looking at different way it is organized. Yogi, just I don't know, you went off for a moment on the video. I'm not sure if you can hear me all right, but so, of course, your business is growing fast. It's a digital-first business, and digital is a in thing today. So, really love to quickly get your, view on, in your business, how you look at the customer acquisition and digital, and is there any role of offline in how you operate your business? Yogi, can you hear me? I think he's probably not able to hear us. Maybe I'll just quickly maybe go to Rahul. Rahul, if you can, since Clicks is a fairly invested company in the digital space, and you operate multiple lines of products. So would love to hear from you, how you have seen in last 3 years the whole impact of digital on the customer acquisition, and what you see going forward, the digital, and how your business sees the digital digital customer acquisition.
Yeah, sure. Clicks, long back they were very clear that we have to land up to a digital lending space only, and while it's a full-blown NBFC, so what does it mean is that from a strategic point of view, we were absolutely clear that we have to embark on the digital lending business, right? Having said that, of course, last 18 months have paced up a lot of stuff, but we were clear from a strategic point of view. Yes, of course, it also helped us in pacing up the execution. Today, I can very proudly say that Clicks 85% of the business comes from the digital lending, right? So
that's massive.
Yeah, so that is massive, right? So we are digitizing the other part of our product line as well, and we are hopping onto the strategic partnerships as well. So I think digital is a way forward. And if you are noticing that every player now trying their best to come out with those sort of propositions, everyone should keep an eye on the strategic partnerships as well. There are other still functions, right? You talk about a large size business loan, ticket size, wherein, or probably a home loan, which is a heavy ticket size stuff. There, of course, people should land up to a hybrid model. Right, so don't try to just try your hands absolutely on day zero to digitize that. to the fully extent, but you can split your program really well. So just to say that, under 20 lakh ticket, you can still hop onto a full blown digital
journey.
uh, and I'm seeing a lot of regulations that are coming up are also supporting that. We all have gone through the recent 14th May regulatory thing that came from RBI. That is very welcoming. If you see from MSME segment, right, the school cooperative we can go for a video KYC. So that is another indicative stuff that even the regulations are supporting
Supportive.
sort of journey.
Absolutely. No, I think this is an important point you made, because I think the ability of the RBI and the entire government infrastructure in helping this whole ecosystem has really been a big big reason for why digital lending and the whole digitization of lending and other spaces have been made possible. Yogi, I'll come back to you. Sorry, we lost you for a few minutes there, but as three questions. I mean, fundamentally, the business you are doing right now, right? I mean, you are a fast-growing, high velocity, low to mid-ticket, loan provider, right? What were the ingredients of what that made it possible, right? I mean, that's really one question for you. Second would be, what can the traditional lenders learn from you, right? Second. And third, what is the landscape looking forward in future? Like, so three questions, and feel free to answer anyone before or the after, but just wanted to get your perspective there.
Sure. Thanks, Nilesh. And sorry, my connection broke for a few seconds, and I think I lost some part of the question as well. But let me try to answer all of these three questions as part of my comments. So first is that there's not a single reason, but there have been multiple reasons why what we can do, or what has enabled us to do what we can do at this point of time. First is the tech stack that India has been able to develop. We don't have a lot of countries which have been able to digitize as much as the tech stack that we have in India. So think about your Aadhaar card, think about your KYC documents, think about the bank statement being available, and there are companies which can scrub the bank statements and tell you that whether the bank statement is right or not. The entire tech stack which has been developed in India and mostly supported by the government has been a major ingredient for a company like us to thrive and survive, despite of the challenges which are out there. The second most important is the penetration of smartphone in India. Like 10 years before, smartphones were kind of were handful or not very heard of. At this point of time, the penetration of smartphone is really heavy, including not only limited to metros or tier 1, tier 2 cities, but they've gone really deep down into the tier 3, tier 4 cities as well. Along with the smartphone penetration, I think the government and the telecom operators have done a fantastic job in making sure that internet is available on a large scale platform. So a lot of people have access to internet and can access their smartphone in a very effective manner. The cost of data has become really cheap as well. So you can do most of the things on a zero cost basis if you have a good plan for yourself. So if you look at the total infrastructure, which is the availability of the tech stack where the government has enabled, then the penetration of the smartphone and the availability of the internet and the data per se, which is not the most expensive thing at this point of time, has enabled companies like ourselves and the entire digital ecosystem to flourish and start becoming more relevant. The other thing which has really helped is basically one thing which has pushed, I shouldn't say help, one thing which has pushed towards digital is basically the pandemic itself. So people have chosen digital more than what the physical format stores used to deliver. People have chosen digital payments as well as compared to making physical payments in cash currency or in checks. And we have seen how much digital payments and the entire ecosystem around the digital payments have evolved. Look at the numbers which are coming out from UPI, the amount of increase in the credit cards, and so on and so forth. So if you look at these entire ingredients which have been put into our country over the last 5 to 6 years, has been phenomenal. Especially most of this has started to come up from 2016-17, where you had slew of measures from the government. You had everything booming around the e-commerce, digital payments, fintech lenders, the buy now, pay later. So all of these things put the demonetization. So if you look at the entire action which the government has taken around the digitization and the infrastructure which has become available, I think is a major
boost for this.
It's a catalyst. It's a major catalyst to push India behind either digital economy or behind a digital ecosystem. So
that is good. I think phenomenally, covered. You've really summarized the really key ingredients, which has driven the one of the reasons why a company like you is able to grow, build, and thrive and survive, as you said. But what people can learn from you, like what are the other folks in the traditional setup can learn from you or should learn from you, and what you should learn from them, but we'll come to that later.
So look, it's not that there is a lot which you could learn, because there are learning opportunities for everybody out there, and as a company which is very focused towards the customer, because the biggest north objective that we have as a company is to put the customer at the heart, right? So you always need to think about the customer, because that's the problem that you're trying to solve for him and not for anybody else. And if you solve the customer's problem, then every other problem that you're trying to chase, which is either a profitability or better profits or better sales, everything should be able to sort by itself if you chase and solve that customer. So I think we have a very, very customer-centric approach, because what we try to always do and understand that what really the customer's problem is, and how do you develop a product which is around that customer. So look, we continue to be a very agile company. We continue to come out with new products, new releases all the time, to make sure that we look at what are the new trends in the market, what are the new requirements which are coming out from the customer. We talk to our customers extremely in an engaging way. So whether it's collections, or whether it's underwriting, or whether it's trying to take their feedback, we take that as very seriously, and whatever information or inputs we get from that customer, that goes into our product pipe to see what differentiate products that we can come out as a company to solve their problems.
Awesome. So let me ask one fun question, right? I mean, have you made a collection call yourself, and what was it like? Because everybody.
So I've personally done a lot of calls, not only in collections, but also sometimes in underwriting, and sometimes also thinking of a customer. Sometimes calling a customer if they have a lot of issues with us as a company, trying to understand that what really is the problem that this customer faces. And I think till the time the management or the company does not have a real touch very, very closely with their customers, you don't get any information from anywhere else. All the reports which are available over the internet can be replaced by a few calls that you do as a company to your customer, and understanding what their problems are. So yes, I've made a call for collection, and as a country and as a world, I think we have not been going through a lot of good times, whether it's a pandemic, whether issues related to the pandemic, related to health or job losses, etc. So we do reach out to the customers to understand what's the pain point, what are the issues that they have, if an installment is due, why that hasn't been paid, how do we help the customer in those situations. So yes, we have. I've personally made these calls.
So let me ask you a little fun question. Okay, what is the first line? कि हमारे पैसे कब दोगे types, या मतलब like what's that line?
So look, the fun call is that I can't say that look, I'm calling as the CEO. So the first thing I say is that look, I'm calling from Kashi, I'm from the collections department, right? Okay. So you have to morph yourself into somebody else's shoes before you start asking difficult questions. And then the conversation goes. And look, the collection team, although it's a very thankless job, because you're trying to collect the money which people sometimes don't pay, but you have to try to convert a collection team into an engagement team to understand that what is the problem of that customer that he hasn't paid. And for the customer segment that we cater to, most of the time it's not an intent problem, but most of the time it is a problem at customers' end because of some contingency or something else which is beyond their control. So if you understand that, and if you give them a plan, I think most of the people do stick to those plans as well. So we try to engage with them in a different manner rather than trying to be a classic collection call center.
Yeah, we'll come to that later. Now I'll switch that conversation back, but I want to bring Shashank in the conversation. And Shashank, you've been a technologist, and you've been an entrepreneur as well. As you see, HDFC Credila, has been there, one of the top lenders in the education space. And of course, lending has many different products, right? And personal loans to housing loans and everything in between, right? So when you look at the whole digitization element from HDFC Credila standpoint, right, and lending space at large, what are the key things which are on your list of things to do, or would you like to do over next few years, and be in sync with where the market is going from a technology standpoint in your space?
Sure. First of all, thanks, Nilesh, I think, for giving the opportunity to be part of this panel, right? I mean, if we really look at, I think, some of the things that we would like to focus on, right? And as you rightly mentioned, we have been in this space for almost 15 plus years, leading education loan provider, right? So and also, I would say relatively a complex credit product that we are selling, because I think most of the time the decision doesn't happen, I think, instantly, right? Unlike, I think, personal loan or for many other sort of credit products, customer need money immediately, right? And so there is a lot of inherent push that customer has to, I think, do KYC, do, I think, all the things that you will ask them. But I think in our case, usually the discoveries starts much earlier, right? So the sort of biggest contribution to our portfolio is essentially financing students who are going abroad for their masters. We do I think offer sort of loan to students going for higher education in India, and even I think to probably not a large proportion, but also fund undergraduate, right? But so when you look at this consumer segment, they start thinking about, I think, going to US, Canada, or Europe, right? Much earlier, right? That is where the discovery actually starts. So I think we have a slightly more challenging situation because consumer actually comes to us. The lead actually, I think, it comes to us almost 6 months, 9 months, at times a year before we can actually fulfill, right? We have to make sure that we engage customer, we keep them warm, I think, throughout that. So that's our biggest challenge, right? Of course, the fulfillment happens once they get confirmation on their admissions and they get the visas, etc. So our product is slightly challenging, but I think the areas that we would like to focus on is on the discovery, right, and also on the underwriting. These are the two focus areas, because I feel these are the real juices that any I think lending organization can bring to the table. A lot of it, in my opinion, I think we all want to offer a very, I think, smooth onboarding experience and also the fulfillment experience. But I foresee maybe 3 years, 4 years down the line, this will become a commodity actually.
Okay.
Right, and which we are already seeing. I think a lot of new age fintechs who are offering SaaS-based, I think, post login loan origination workflows, right, into the collection. So in my opinion, I think the discovery and the underwriting, right, this is where we would like to definitely focus a lot as an organization, right? And yes, we definitely have to provide them the right experience, but that becomes a hygiene after a certain point in time, rather than sort of
differentiator. Got
yes.
it. No, I think the discovery is a great point you brought, because I think if your product, the lifetime value is very high for the customer, right? A and B, discovery happens much ahead of when the product transaction has to happen, and so making yourself valuable in the discovery chain is going to be critical, given that a lot of discovery is going online, and platforms which are I don't know, the ones where people find like Shiksha.com, College Dunia, College Dekho, Get My Uni. Like there are several players in that category who would basically tell you where you can find the best best degree.
And that's actually happening also, Nilesh, right? I think there you can find certain examples where some of these organizations started as a discovery platform, and now they are actually getting into financing also, right? Because eventually everybody would like to offer an end-to-end sort of offering, right? And I think the advantage we certainly have, right, being a lender of our size, that we have access to capital, right? I think and what we need to do is we basically have to reduce our cost of operation, right, which is definitely more than some of the new age companies, because traditionally we have been brick and mortar, and also in our case we usually give high ticket
loans,
right? I think almost 40-50 lakh upwards. So we can still support that cost of operation, but I think if we really have to now diversify and also focus on education market in India and target masses, we definitely need to bring in technology and reduce our cost of operation, right? So again, definitely there will be focus on efficiency through digital innovation, but lot of it will actually be making sure that we reduce our cost of acquisition, right? We actually pay a pretty high amount to our distribution partners, actually, right? Some of it is basically certain X percentage of the disbursement value and so on, right? So for us, that is very important to reduce our cost of acquisition, and of course, if we want to target a mass market, reduce our cost of operation.
Absolutely. No, I think this is a great point you mentioned, and of course, because the loan size is higher, and so sourcing partners would take would take of course their piece of the action. Let me.
I think one more point, if I may add, is essentially see in our case the customer actually say going to US, right, or any of the countries there. Now they definitely start earning a pretty good income after they get job, right? So what we are also seeing is people doing part payment earlier than what we would actually,
which you would not like,
right? Now, so another area of focus for us would be how do we do a cross-selling, right? How do we engage them even so beyond, I think, this one-off sort of relationship.
Understood. No, I think it's a fair point, because and culturally, and maybe I think like that, but culturally, Indians, or at least some part of the Indian population, want to pay early and get rid of the loan. But I'd love to hear what's out there. But I'd like to bring Bhavin into the conversation. So Bhavin, love to get a quick intro for your business, of what you do, because I think what you do is slightly is different from what most people are accustomed to hear from lending. So you have like a two-sided marketplace, and if you can talk about that, and then tell us how is your business structured from a customer acquisition perspective, and basically how do you get those customers in your business, and also like to touch upon when defaults happen in your business, what do you do? So maybe if you can introduce yourself and your business, and then help us with these two quick questions.
Sure, thanks, Nilesh. So Lending Club is a marketplace for investors who want to lend money to other people looking for a loan in the market. So as a platform, we assess this borrower, and then whoever qualifies to be a borrower who can go get approval on the platform, they are being invested and being connected to these investors through completely automated route. So as a platform, we have around 2 million borrowers on the platform, given more than 2.5-3 lakh number of loans through the platform, more than 6 lakh investors who have been funding these loans. So definitely it's a very unique model, and on a monthly basis, more than 1 lakh investors participate in funding these loans. while we are doing this kind of transactions at a very large scale, our sourcing model has been completely digital. So whether it is investor onboarding or borrower onboarding, we focus a lot on the user journeys, that the target segment which we look at it, the people who are looking for short-term and small loans, whether they are salaried or they are business people. And while we are looking at these customers, their requirement or their need is to get money much faster. So our focus has always been into complete digital onboarding and then process the loan at the earliest. So at this moment, we disburse almost 82% of our loans within 5 hours time period, and around 50% of loans within 2 hours time period. That too, there are operational timing which we have to match. Otherwise, we can do it at 15 minutes instead of 2 hours. But the point is, value prop is very clear to our customers that we can disburse loan within few hours, so that your need is being fulfilled. Again, our segment is much different than what Shashank is into or what Rahul is into, and maybe little bit overlapping with what Yogi does. But definitely the product proposition wise, it's a speed of delivery which we look at. And if we have to achieve that, it's a full focus on the digital part. So we can't afford to have any physical processing. So around 85% of our loan gets processed completely automated. There are very little number of customers which gets processed in a physical manner, because still technology is being evolved, and I think it will take a couple of more years to fulfill the requirement related to those 15% of customers and how we can make it automated. But 85% of customer gets completely automated approved through the platform. Now, as far as borrower is approved, they are being matched with the investors on the platform. Loan is being disbursed. For an investor, it's similar experience like you are investing in any mutual fund, that you are bringing a capital and then system itself is being matching your money with n number of borrowers through various diversification route and optimization algorithm. Once loan is disbursed, our next responsibility starts, which is related to collection. Again, collection part is also much oriented around the technology, because we are into small ticket size loan. Average loan amount is 45,000, on business side 50, and on salary side it's around 12,000 rupees. So point is, here we have to use technology in the best way so that our collection cost does not go beyond certain limit. So when we started, definitely we started with operation heavy business for initial first couple of years, and later on last 3 years we have been spending a lot of time on automating these processes. So more than 90% of our collection happens only using technology. So it's only 10% of collection which we have to get from the customers while any call center efforts are going on. So again, we think a lot on any problem statement, that whether it can be sorted by technology or not. If not, then try to find out if we can build a technology or somebody else has already built that technology which we can use.
So interesting. So have you made that collection call? Sorry, I have to ask that question.
Yeah, absolutely. So in fact, when we started for initial 2.5 years, we were offering personal loan with average ticket size of 1 lakh rupees. And that time we had physical collection processes as well. We were trying to learn that how we will be able to automate this when we go aggressively and pan India market. So definitely I have got customers on the field where they are trying to act smart, that they will tell their family members that tell the guys that I am not at home, etc. And then phone bajana and ringing ho raha hai. So all sort of activities I have done before Lending Club. Also, when I was working with NBFCs, there also, as an additional part of my work other than fundraising, I was trying to get sense of how credit works and how collection works, because lending business has two major pillars, which is credit and the collection, which have been interesting domain.
Bhavin, one question for you is that because you have a two-sided marketplace, the whole process of getting an investor from whom you will borrow and give it to the customer, is that piece also digitally automated, or like what's the story there?
Yeah, it's completely automated. So
Okay.
see, any part of business is fully automated. So customer journey on the investor side is automated. They get onboarded digitally. Once they are onboarded, they can transfer money, they can bring it to their wallet, and the allocation is also happening automatically. So around 99% of the capital on our platform happens automatically, where even lenders are not looking at the
I'm very
borrower profile
tempted
and
to
offering
ask,
them.
what's the investor make on your platform?
12 to 13% on an annualized basis.
That's good, man. I mean, you're making twice of the FD right now. Well,
Yeah,
people,
absolutely. You all should invest there.
yeah, I will definitely put some money there. Rahul, I want to come to you now. And first, I'll ask you whether you'll put some money in his, his business or not. But that apart, my question, Rahul, is I think you highlighted that 85% of your business is really digital, and the whole processing of that is digital. I was thinking two, three questions. One is, and you did indicate that you work with sourcing partners as well, right? So you have digital sourcing partners. So I'd love to hear what role they play in your sourcing, funnel, right? Number one. Number two, as you go from 85%, I'm sure there'll be some internal target you would have from 85% to 90%, 95%, like over the next few years. As you go from 85% beyond, let's say 90%, 95%, what does that reflect on the bottom line or the cost of customer acquisition? Like, what's the story there, and how do you see that? Like, is that a lens to see this whole thing, or it is only turnaround time which matters, but the cost can be same?
Yeah. So I'll try to answer that multiple question that you asked me, and some of the interesting stuff in terms of the cost as well. But before that, for the audience benefit, I would like to just bring more light to some of the things that Yogi have brought in, the trends, right? Why digital is becoming more and more important. In last, I would say, if you try to compare some numbers from 2019 to 2021 now, there is a 41% increase in the average time spent by individual onto mobile in India, and this is uncomparable to any country.
It is.
And that has happened in last 18 to 20 months, right? There is a 30% increase in the monthly data consumption at an individual level. So that's another big indicator. There is a 56% of users who were actually doing banking in their old styling ways are moving on to the digital aspect. So if the average, there is a 40%, 41% jump in the average time spent by individual on mobile, it is very important that if you try to encash that 1% or 2% of the time of the individual for your own brand, you are successful digitally, right? So it is not that every time that we have to feel like that we have to do something digitally. It is the consumer who is every day pushing us to bring our business digitally available, right? So it's now other way around, right? So that's a very, very unique trend that has happened in last 18 months. So it is very important for everyone to understand. And hence, if you notice that we are embarking on to that particular front really aggressively. Now, why partnership? Of course, if you have to go for a very heavy plan around the customer acquisition, you can tend to do that through your website or your own digital assets like mobile app and all. But strategic partnership gives you multifold growth, right?
Correct.
And of course, I mean, there are a lot many players who are extremely good in doing the acquisition, but probably they're not able to do the fulfillment, right? So we as a lender, if we have the digital ecosystem availability, and they are the mega acquisition channel available on a digital footprint, we can sign up that win-win deal, right? So, and hence that is helping us a lot. So we are signing deal with such super app players so that we can get those data and we can do the fulfillment for them as a lender because we don't have lending license, right? As far as cost is concerned, of course, if you notice in your conventional model of NBFC, you are supposed to pay some commission to your DSAs and to your franchises and all sort of thing, right? Your digital model have to run under that price, right? If you're able to deal with your acquisition under that particular rate, and probably if you put a trajectory of more than 24 months to then lending to 36 months of growth, you will start seeing that you are starting saving money as well, right? So that's the kind of the visibility that we create around our books to say that this is how we do. And it is not about that you keep on burning your dollars and you are not able to maintain the ROA around that. So we are very clear there. And hence, even the partnership helps you to do a lot of traction, right? So that's the game. It's a profitable game. It's a margin game, and hence you are seeing that lot many players are lending into it. But having said that, it's a demand from consumer also, right? Very long back, Bill Gates gave that statement that no business model is a successful business model if it is not online, right? It was a decade or more than that. He gave that statement, but it's becoming meaningful, right? And
absolutely. And then, of course, he and his firm has done a lot to enable that through the cloud transformation. So I think we've lost a couple of our panelists probably because of the connection. But I wanted to, since we have a few more minutes before we go into the question round, both to Bhavin and to Rahul, and I'll bring it to Yogi and Shashank when they come back, is what is the one thing on your mind to get executed? Like you want to get that done as quickly as you can. And what is one thing which worries you the most? Like, what are those two things?
Yeah, I would like to attempt.
Okay.
One thing that we are really focusing, and that's a very, very important thing, is collection. How far, how extensively we can digitize our efforts around collection.
Okay.
And we are cognizant about the fact that if you have to split your bucket in 4 quadrants, so your delinquent and your 90+ bucket has to be dealt through a manual intervention, right? But having said that, your 90% of stuff can still be done digitally. How can you equip your call center through your CRM, right? To enable those things. So for example, if my call center fellow is talking to a customer right now, he is able to hook onto the customer around his collection effort, he should be able to send a link for the payment onto the WhatsApp of customer on a click of a button through his CRM. So how you create that integrated view onto the CRM for a call center guy when he is under that engagement with the customer, rather than saying, "Sir, you will be receiving an email, sir, you will be receiving an SMS, so please do take care of it and make the payment." So you have to ensure that the conversation gets done and over there and then through those things. So we are trying there.
So that's one big initiative you want to get executed, basically, right? So that's one. And so now what's the one worry you have?
The thing is that while being passionate and being very aggressive around digital effort, you have to balance 2 things. One is the build versus buy, right? So you try to create everything in-house because it can lead to burning a lot of dollars and probably delay as well. So it's a very conscious, it's an everyday attempt to do that because you keep on coming across a lot of solutions. And when you have tech capability, you try to do that. Let me do it in-house only, right? So that's one. Second is don't try to do everything. Don't try to digitize everything, right? Try to bring a nice balance on saying that this will be 100% digitized, this will be 90%, and this will be a hybrid model. So that sort of thing is something that we are keeping an eye, and we don't want to commit a mistake there.
Got it. So Shashank and Yogi, just for your benefit, we just lost you for a few moments. I wanted to just conclude the call quickly, and if you can all, if you can just try to quickly answer this, is that what's the biggest, what's one thing which you want to get executed like really fast, like tomorrow or today, and what is one worry you have which you see in your business or in the ecosystem? Yogi, if you want to go ahead and take an attempt at that.
Yeah, sure. So look, there is one thing which is a downside of digitization is that how do you prevent fraud, right? Because when you are accessing of so much information, everything is happening over a fly. There are APIs which are connecting to 5 different service providers. You want to make sure that behind all of this, there's a stable platform which works, and you are able to make sure that there are no negative selections which are happening. There's no fraud which is kind of penetrating through the system. So you have to always keep ahead of yourself, because in a business like ourselves, where we do high velocity, high volume loans, you have to make sure that you don't lose money because somebody is able to crack through the system in some manner or the other. So I think that's one area where we focus the most, and every attempt of a pilferage creates a new learning for ourselves, where we see that, okay, where do we have to tighten up, what kind of new controls where we have to build. Because as I said, in a business like ourselves, to try to do this in any other different format becomes very costly and ineffective from a consumer experience as well. So I think that's one place where we are always on our toes to make sure that if there's anything which is pilfering the system, how do we control that? What kind of controls we put into counter that as well?
Got it. This is a great point. Shashank, so is the first thing on your list is to buy a discovery platform? Like,
no, I think the first thing on our mind is to basically be nimble enough to offer, I think, a variety of products, actually, right? I think broadly in the education, I think being the overarching theme, right? Because and also tap much wider consumer segment.
got it.
And the worry for at least particularly maybe in our case is making sure the organization culturally adopts digital transformation. I think Rahul also brought the point that we shouldn't digitize everything, right? I think for us the challenge is that people are used to working in a certain way for 15 years or so, right? And I think they build a lot of robust processes, robust controls, right? So there is always, I think, culturally some reservation against adopting technology, partly because it's new, right? Partly also sometimes people see technology as enemy rather than, I think, their friend, right? So, yeah.
Got it. Well, I think this is good. Bhavin, just last, this is a question for you, since you were, like, what's top of your mind right now? Like, what do you like to do in your business today? Either on the growth of the business, saving fraud, as you identified as one of the areas. Like, what's going on in your mind?
So very shortly, what we want to build in next couple of years is before our consumer thinks about having that loan in their bank account or execute some transaction, we should be able to deliver that. So that's the kind of mechanism we want to create by learning more about them, that we should be able to understand their need. That tomorrow he has to visit hospital, probably he needs 10,000 rupees. Let's deposit that into his account. So that's what something we want to build in near future. On the worrying part, if I would not be able to deliver 10 to 12% returns, at least start of double-digit returns to our investors, probably that makes me worry.
Got it. Well, I think that's very quick. So maybe Shibani, you want to move to questions? I just want to make sure we are mindful of everybody's time here. I can read the questions here for everyone's. So I think there's a question for Bhavin from Suresh. What is the kind of collection efficiency you are able to hit during these times, and what is it during normal times? Up mute, sir.
If you are referring to lockdown 1 and lockdown 2, yeah, there was a little bit of impact during the lockdown 1. However, that got mitigated over next 6 to 9 months time period. During lockdown 2, I don't think there is impact. In fact, our collection numbers are better than what we had at 31st March 2021.
They were able to take more phone calls because they were at home. Okay, there's a question from Sanket, and I'll let the panel, any of you, Rahul, Shashank, Yogi, Bhavin, to choose to respond to this. It seems all fintech and lending organizations are moving towards a neobank or banking license until digital licenses are available via focus services, then expanding it to make it holistic and eventually a challenger digital bank. So more like a statement, but it looks like what this individual is trying to say is that is there a thing where all fintechs will become banks, like a digital banks? Is that the trend? Yogi, maybe you want to take if you'd like, you can take a shot at that.
Yes and no, because a lot of players in the market are trying to rather than compete, are trying to complement each other, and it's completely dependent upon how much is the what's the value proposition or what's the services that player is trying to provide. So there are fintechs which are focused towards providing new banks. There are fintechs like ourselves which are into pure play lending, and there are some other fintechs which are doing some other kind of format businesses as well. So it's a complementary system as we speak at this point in time.
Okay, Nilesh, or I will take the next one up. Just a second. Sorry, there are so many questions here, so it's a bit hard to sift through them at the moment. Okay, I'm just going to put this up on screen as well. So this question is from Sanket. He says, how does the organization balance fully digital, no touch versus opportunity cost of losing customers who without touch points may not convert, hence balancing TAT, conversion, COE, etc.?
Anyone wants to take that?
No, I think that totally depends on the kind of consumer you're serving and also the credit product, I think, that you're offering, right? So I think there's no right or wrong answers, right? I mean, in cases where somebody needs credit to buy a Apple iPhone on Amazon, right? I mean, you have to basically have a deep integration, right? So you have to really have a very, I think, robust digital offering. But say in case where somebody is looking for education loan, right? In our cases, we have to make sure there's a provision for customers to visit branch. In fact, in our case, customers visit with their parents, right? So I think it's a very, very different sort of, situation depending on, whom you are serving and what you're offering.
I just want to make sure I missed I was out for a few seconds. But Shivani, did you ask the question on future of lending as a standalone product? Is was the question?
No. This was from Sanket. He was talking about the organization balance. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, there is an interesting question. What is the future of lending as a standalone product for a pure lending NBFC? Like when basically, and that actually question came to me as well in my own head. Like if a lot of the lending products are moving towards like an embedded finance or like some sort of a new banking, like where when you're selling a product, it just kind of gets bundled there. Like if you're paying a fee or you're buying a consumer product, you're basically buying the loan at that point. So are there specialized versions of NBFCs just doing that will come in, or like what's the take? Because it removes the cost of customer acquisition. I mean, or at least headache of it, if not the cost, because somebody is going to take money there, right? So like, is that a thing which is going to be dominating in next 5 years, or like what's the view of the panel?
So I'll take this. My personal view is that standalone products, just pure play lending, will morph into a bundled product system where you're giving a service to the consumer which is much more than just the pure play lending itself. So think about giving a loan to a consumer for buying a mobile phone and also selling an insurance at the same time, so that if the mobile is lost, they are able to cover for the underlying loan which is there, right? And so on and so forth. So lending is a hook product as far as the consumer is concerned. And then from an enterprise perspective, you need to think that you do much more than just the lending with this customer so that he gets value added products and also as an experience as well from the organization.
Got it. So basically you're saying that they will eventually, like anybody who starts as a monoliner has to expand the business, and it's just a natural way to grow the business. And in the
Absolutely.
process, they will, if they grow faster, then they may just become a bank. I mean, whoever to go.
Yeah,
But
look, Nilesh, being a bank is not the most easiest thing in the world, right?
I
Because there
would,
are
yeah, I mean, nobody's
yeah,
going to give a license
and
yet.
so I don't know whether everybody tries to aspire to be a bank, because once you become a bank, there are a whole lot of other complexities as well. But what I'm trying to say is that you start with, as you said, you start with a Uniline product, which is lending, and then once you understand your consumer, you start to do something more like a enabled insurance, or do some or engage with a customer in a better manner, so that you have a better engagement with the customer.
Absolutely. I think one question which occurred to me, and I think is basically, look, I mean, what you do, what Bhavin does, was not a thing, 10 years ago, right? Not a big thing. I'm sure people were trying to do that. And every business has grown. I mean, HDFC, Credila has grown. Like all the existing banks and lending institutions have grown. Clicks, of course, has grown. The question really is, which means the market has grown, right? I mean, somebody found a new market to serve. Are there many more markets to be found like that, which are not visible right now to the world, to us? And what does it mean from the market size perspective? Like what we see today, lending as a whole, and I will not even hazard a guess because I don't know the exact number, but are we like is the lending as a market will be like 4 times of what it is in 10 years or much more than that? Like what's the crystal ball telling us? I mean, if you want to, any of you want to take a shot at that.
So Nilesh, if you're referring to, if you're trying to say that it's complementary product, then I would say yes, absolutely. And that's what the belief which we also have. And in the same belief, we have launched multiple products which are not existing in the market or with the traditional lending institutions like NBFC or the bank. So we believe it's a discovery of new usage, or maybe a discovery of completely new customer, which was otherwise not coming to mainstream lending institution, and probably going to maybe some local money lender, or maybe going to relatives, or not at all getting money and then suffering because of unavailability of credit. So definitely it's a discovery of new customer or usage, and so the new market. There are many more markets yet to be discovered, and that's what we also believe. And consumer data is giving inspiration to move towards that. So various decisions we take to add more features or expand our product line is coming from our existing customer sets only. When couple of lakh customers are showing you some pattern that this is something which they required but not available in the market, possibly that's you should be looking. So in the initial phase of Lending Club, from 25,000 customers, we derived that customers are not able to get very small ticket size loan. अगर उसको 5,000 10,000 चाहिए तो नहीं मिलता है. If he's looking for 5 lakh rupees, तो फिर 25 institutions are there कि हाँ मेरे से ले लो भाई, but कोई 5,000 10,000 तो दो उसको. So the point is, who will give that? And that's how the discovery of the product happens, and that comes from the existing customer data points itself. So similar methodology we have been following, and I think a lot of new set of lenders who have come in last 5 to 8 years, probably they have been digging out a new set of customers, and probably in longer future they may start directly competing with the bank because they want to give those products also to their existing customers. But it definitely starts from something new.
Got it. I think there's one question which is around collection and fraud, and Yogi, you did make you elaborate information you shared on the prevention of fraud. The question is, what is the best approach to prevent fraud from digital collection? And I'd like to just kind of add my little question to that is that what is when you see fraud, like, is there any kind which is most common, which is obvious, which you have seen, and of course by now would have prevented that? But like what, and if anything which you could share may not be very common, but something which was really funny, if I may call it, or like unexpected? Like what was that? And so that we can talk and share that with our audience.
Right. So the most common kind of frauds that we have seen in the early stages of our company is basically related to the bank statements and the KYCs. And most of these originate from the physical DSAs, where there is where the intermediaries are trying to make sure that some of the customers go through the process and so on and so forth. So those are the two most common examples of fraud where we have seen where people start getting really innovative, start printing bank statements on their desktops, start taking advantages of those PDF tools and so on and so forth. But look, over a period of time, these kind of instances have reduced phenomenally because there are some very serious checks that you can do on a very soft basis on KYC, and also there are tools which are available now to test bank statements in a very, very active manner. So both of these tools have reduced frauds immensely over a period of time. But most of the cases that we have seen in the earlier part of our setup was related to KYC and the bank statements.
Got it. And so, is there a fake degree scam, Shashank? You have seen like people, sending some degree saying, well, fund my education, or like or offer letter from Harvard coming. Have you seen that kind of thing in your business?
So I think again, I cannot really comment on some of the very early days of SDFC Credila. It's been just around a year for me, right? And over time, I think we have built a lot of robust controls. We actually cross-check with universities.
Okay.
So there are, I think, and I think we also have to do it given the sort of high value loans that we are giving, right? And a student is actually going to US, right? So we usually have, father, mother also as co-applicants, right? So in our case, we have not seen that kind of challenges, at least of late, because processes and controls have evolved over time. But I still, the one challenge is what Yogi said is maybe, I think, making sure that the partners that you're working on, right? And if you have actually interested them on doing certain verifications, how do we make sure that they do their job well, right? So if we are asking some third-party agencies to physically visit and verify the residence, verify the business, that's where I think sometimes we have seen challenges, right?
Okay.
What has been reported versus what really is. There could be challenges. Yeah.
Got it. Well, I think I'm just trying to see if there are any other questions which are here. There's one question which I'm not sure if is relevant for Yogi and Bhavin that much, but are your sales staff getting easily adopted to digital technology, because you all sell pretty much digital? But and Shashank did mention about some resistance to tech. I'm not sure, Rahul, if you're still there, but love to hear, how's your team, what you have seen in here at Clicks and maybe in the prior in the sales and other teams.
So as far as adoption at the sales end is concerned, so we have seen adoption, right? So what we have done is we have tried to enable them through our CRM capability, right? Giving them a device, app wherein they can capture the lead and they can track their productivity, So those sort of stuff we have enabled, and it worked well for us. So we are not seeing any challenge per se. Of course, there are continuous change management that you have to do. This is the feedback that you receive. So that is a continuous effort that you have to do to ensure your operational excellence. So by having said that, we have a fair adoption.
Awesome. Well, I think I have my share of questions, and I think we probably covered all the questions, which are largely all the questions. In the interest of time, if the panelists if you all have any concluding remarks, love to hear from you before we conclude today's session. Yogi, what would you tell the new guy who's putting up a lending institution now?
So look, I would say lending is not the most easiest thing in the world to do, because at the end, unlike a distribution company, you have to eventually collect what you lend. So any new guy who wants to start lending, I think the company must look at the segment to whom the lending is being done, and make sure that a cautious call is being taken about underwriting and risk and credit, and about risk and credit, and basically grow the business by taking cautious calls on what kind of customer segments that you want to
go after. Got it. Rahul, Shashank, Bhavin, any concluding comments?
I would just say that think digital. Digital is the way to move forward, and if we have to grow economy much faster, then debt has to rise at the individual level.
Yes.
Unless and until that happens, probably the enough circulation of money would not happen. So think digital and bring as many product as possible. Bring something which is not existing in the market, so that we all can complement each other, and probably together we grow economy.
Yeah, I would say start applying a bigger lens now. So you must have heard multiple times that digital is enabler, right? So we treat it as one of the enablers. I think try to have canvas to say that pivot your business onto your digital effort. So that's the bigger thing. Everyone whosoever is listening, start applying that lens.
Got it. So that's the message is digital. Shashank, any final message because I have one which I'll reserve to the end.
No, I think I mentioned it. I'll probably reiterate again, right? We need to see, where the consumer is actually investing more time, right? I think and I strongly feel that consumer is more interested in actually not the loan, right? I mean, though I think we all are in the lending business, consumer is actually interested in using that loan for a certain purpose, right? How can you help? And again, that boils down to the discovery, right? So, and essentially that is where we can actually bring a lot of innovation, and eventually will also help us do more fulfillment, right? More and grab more market share.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shashank. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Bhavin. I think I don't see Yogi here, but thank you so much, Yogi, for joining us and having such a wonderful conversation. And if you ask me what do I have to say, I'll say buy Lead Squared. And so that's what I'll say. And if you're not having money, there are 4 people here to lend you. That's a fun. So yeah, thank you so much.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but in our case, you'll have to again, I think, go to school, right? If you're interested, then you're most welcome.
Yeah. So we are issuing lead sales certification, so people can buy certification. They can take a loan. Anyway, that's it's fun. I'm so happy to host you all here today. I really appreciate it, and would love and welcome you to the panel. If you have time in future, and when we do these events together, I'd like to do a more informal one. This was still formal than what I'd like to do. But I think it's we have been to so many of those events जहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा formality होती है. I thought maybe we'll just change that a little bit, and hope you all enjoyed it. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with our audience. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a
Thanks,
good
audience. Thanks.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
I couldn't see the participants.